I'm Anna Ngoma, teacher of physical education and history. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Stacy. I teach physical education and French.
And French?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, thank you for sharing your class with us and allowing us to watch. We're simply tourists in your class, so we don't have the full context about what happens every day. So that's, you know, from that lens, you know, we'll provide some feedback, but we have a very small picture of what happens in your class, and we appreciate being able to see it. So I'm sure we all have some things to say. The first thing that it was good. There's some things I want to say that were good. Sorry, it's the way I teach too. I really like how you were very intentional with your learning. So there was objectives that were on your lesson, and it was clear that you stuck to those objectives and you repeated them throughout the whole entire lesson, which helping your pupils meet the objectives. That was great. So I appreciated seeing that, and I know some of you will probably hit on some of the routines or some of the other stuff that happened as far as management. So one thing is when, so for example, we have 2 pieces of equipment, which isn't very much, and I understand. So I like the way that when we split into 2 groups, we're using all of our equipment. That was great. I also, one thing that when we talk about the chess pass, all the students were demonstrating that, and we call it in a static setting. Static meaning no gameplay, static, back and forth to you, right? Outside. When we got into an authentic game environment, when there was defense and offense, so we had the chess pass, right? One thing that you could consider is not every pass can be a chess pass in an authentic game situation, right? So maybe take some time to think about ask your students, when is the best time in a game situation to do a chess pass? I like the way that your pupils, when they were guarded, they brought the ball up and they knew what to do, right? But you wanted them to do the chess pass because that was your objective. But then we want them to do that, right? Because they're showing that they understand how to tactically be successful in the game. So maybe just consider when a defender's hands are in a certain way, the chess pass is appropriate. So that's all I'll say. Thank you very much for allowing me to view your class as well. Go ahead.
I'll start with, I said this to you outside. The amount of respect that you command from your students is admirable. They respect you, they enjoy being there. They're nice and quiet when you're giving instruction. They were attentive, and they're also responding when you're asking questions. So it was really fun to see, you know, what they think of you, because they were on task and ready to go. And I know it's really difficult having this many people show up to watch a lesson, and then the kids also thinking about that as well. So nerve-wracking. I told her outside I would have been just as nervous as you probably felt. Just a lot of eyes on you. So some feedback that I would give is, as he said, using both pieces of equipment. So you had some games going on, maybe do the same game on one side of the court, and then you can lead the other game on the other side of the court. So that way you can get everyone kind of jumping in at a time instead of having some of them sit out. And I just think you did a great job of introducing chess pass, and you talked about that. Instead of having a large circle with that discussion, you could maybe pose the question and have the students in smaller groups, so maybe 4 or 5, so they can all get a chance to answer and discuss that and maybe share out. It might limit some of the waiting time, so you can get to more playing time a little quicker. But again, not an easy situation for you to be in today, and you did great.
I'll just add, yeah, I mean, continuing with what they've shared with you. It was wonderful to see the enthusiasm of your students in your class. We saw many smiles, and enjoyment of physical education class is so important for that lifetime love of being physically active, so that was wonderful. And the same thing, just the admiration for you. And we all know what it feels like to have people come in. So again, we want to thank you for showcasing your class with us. And I just want to highlight what we've trained the trainer of trainers in the trainings this week. First of all, your lesson plan was spot on to everything that we shared with the trainers this week. And you started off, we've talked about the instant activity, you got them moving, then you did an introduction, and you had the skill practice, you talked about the skill and the closure. So, right, we've all been in the training this week, it just mirrored everything we talked about, so I want to just share that with you, that you did an amazing job with that. So, yeah.
I really enjoyed stepping up. You weren't even there yet, and they were all stretching and collaborating and excited to be there. You could tell the entire time they were having fun. They liked physical education, they wanted to be there, and it's a big part of who their teacher is. That was really cool to see. The whole time there were smiles on faces and just so much fun being had, and that is what we want to see in a physical education class. That's what activity brings to you. Where's your face? I would say, like, one thing that I could bring, and I noticed the two balls splitting the court in two with two instructors is a great idea. You had a great example of showing them, okay, this is what I want you to do. Now the other half, you go with this teacher, and you all play and stay active there. And I think they all respect you really well. You were, okay, everybody over here, and they brought your attention. We've been teaching throughout the sessions a start-stop signals, and so that could be a good tool to use. It just, if you hear my voice, clap once. If you hear my voice, clap 2 times. And then all of them will, why am I clapping? Oh yeah, because I should be listening. That's my one suggestion, but I really enjoyed it. I appreciate you having us here, and like they all said, we've all been in your shoes. Teaching in front of a lot of people is really difficult, and you did an amazing job, so thank you.
May I also add, I loved the teaching strategies that you had. For example, describing the skill beforehand, demonstrating the skill, and then checking for understanding, to see that everybody follows you, and then giving time for practice of the skill while you monitor what is happening. I think that was great. And I also liked the way you related the skill that you were practicing to a real world problem. You said, how do you relate this to HIV and AIDS? Okay, so that gives your students time to think. That think time, that analysis, that evaluation, that reflection is a good thing to do. So, good. I only have one question, having observed all these good things. And what are your needs? We would love to capture your voices as the teachers. Okay, in this environment where you are working, where if I had a magic wand, okay, and I said to you, tell me what you need for you to do even better than you are doing today, what would be that need?
Thank you. In case, I would like to have volleyball courts, which we don't have, because we usually use basketball court for all the games, netball and volleyball. So please, if there is any need, we can appreciate.
Yeah. So as you know, soccer is one of the most popular games around. We do not have the soccer field of our own. We use the one which is shared among 3 schools. So sometimes when we go there with the people to find the other schools already there, the ones that are there, we find them there, and sometimes we have conflicts. So we have enough space around where we can have a soccer field made because most of our children are interested in football. So we want to have our own soccer field, maybe even fenced. So even the same for volleyball. We used to have one there when we put a pause, but they were stolen because they were outside the schoolyard. So if we can have everything fenced, that would be nice. And also, can you have magic ones? And also, just more balls, more sports equipment. Like if it's for games like gymnastics, the only thing we have is mats. We don't have any apparatus when it comes to gymnastics. So those skills that we do on apparatus, we just talk about them and maybe just show them, maybe on the screen, we just show them, oh, this is it, because we don't have those. So if we have more balls, we find that our classes on average, they're about, we have about 60 learners. So you find 60 learners against 4 balls or 2 balls. So you find you take time for each child to get a 10. At least if we can have at least a ball against 5 learners, that would be wonderful.
What about from
in addition to what the teachers are doing, it's a resource availability. So they would want to use a lot of creativity in their teaching, but we feel them as management. We cannot provide everything. Just as we mentioned, they need a sporting field, and we are not able to provide that. The resources we get, remember we are a government school, and government is actually struggling to care for all the needs in the schools. So specific subjects, actually, which are practical, actually find that we are failing to provide everything needed. So any external help, I think would go a long way in helping our teachers teach with a lot of initiative and a lot of creativity in their teaching.
Would the HOD have an addition?
Our needs are many. Like my colleagues have said, I think I would still agree with them. If possible for me, visiting a football day would be ideal for us.
Maybe I could offer a few short-term suggestions or thoughts about, we talked about volleyball court, we talked about big projects. Lots of money and funding would need to be provided to create another area. That out there is some of the nice things, that's very nice court. So what if, a couple of things. If you wanted to do volleyball, you have 2 basketball courts. You tie pair rope from one side to the other. That's what you do. You've already been resourceful. You don't need me. You're more resourceful than me. Okay? Yeah.
That's like on Fridays when we have sports. We can't have. We use the court for volleyball, basketball, but now when we have a sports day, we can't have all the games at the same time. So we give it to the basketballers, then the others just have to wait out.
Do you have funding for equipment? May I ask, is there funding for equipment at all?
Yes. The funding is there. Your equipment for sporting activities is expensive. When we say the local prices. So what we do, like just as I mentioned, we have 2 balls. We've managed 2 balls, which is not enough looking at the ratio of the pupils. So if you want to buy more expensive equipment, it will mean other departments. Remember, we have 7 departments. They are all being funded from the same resources which we have. So when the department is demanding for things which are more costly, it becomes difficult to manage all of them. We can only buy 1, not what they need. When they need 6, I can't buy, we'll buy 1 or 2. So that compromises what they need to do. So if there's a school nearby which has, we'll actually borrow and get some and then maintain. But that's not sustainable. It's for a short term. On a long term, we want more funding. The bosses are here in the sporting field because of the specialization which we have.
May I offer one more suggestion that you've most likely already thought of? So you have 70 departments. It's a lot. So what if you considered buying a set of net balls and it travels from school to school? That way, when a specific unit is taught, there is a ratio of 1 ball to 2 students for a specific unit. And that's taught for a week or 2, then that travels. While that's happening, we come together and think about potentially some units that can be taught without equipment. Just a thought about how that could potentially, be thought of, just a suggestion. I don't know if you thought about anything else.
And I know sometimes from my teaching is you got to get creative, right? I think that's kind of a good idea if you're sharing, if you guys have leaders at other schools, other PE teachers, and hey, we're going to work on netball, and then they're going to work on something different, and then you pass that equipment off and we kind of like travel it around, right? Also, in my end, I know that I'm always reaching out to parents as well, and I know that's difficult sometimes, but just kind of maybe sending a letter home, asking if you have any bit of funds that you'd like to put back to the school to donate for our PE program, and maybe that ends up getting you guys an extra ball or 2. That's always been helpful for me if I kind of let them know what we're needing, and they're willing to help, because you can't always wait for government to kind of get that stuff to us. So just trying to be resourceful to get some stuff in the meantime.
At the training that we just did, we use these as cones by filling some rocks in the bottom. So again, just being resourceful if you need some cones as boundary markers or group stations. So. And
that's a way for it, like I always think about that as saving money, so we can save the money for the equipment, the actual ball that we need and whatnot.
Sure, we have concluded. I don't want to allow my team, because that's what we do, these are our children. So just wanted to hear from our friend SLT, the team, just to observe the lesson and say 1 or 2 things for us to know. But otherwise, these are standard officers. We are always with these children. They are almost the same children we observe at our schools. So, Madam, thank you very much for allowing us to come to this school. We have enjoyed. It's a beautiful school, very clean. Keep it up. I know it. So, thank you very much, our team from America. You are really a good team. We have learned something. Even me, I have picked 1 or 2 things from you. Thank you very much. I'm sure now my colleagues, senior officers, thank you for coming here. Our head teachers for the support, the coordinator himself, Dr. Kamungo, thank you very much for bringing us together. But of course, Kobe has taken everything. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll move to another school.